Hello, this is Robin Sampson McCarthy with BibleJournalClasses.com, and today you're going to watch me Bible journal digitally. In this video, we're going to learn how to customize journal spots, how to crop, how to save drop shadows, how to edit word art, working with blendable frames, and how to do a naming convention, and how to change backgrounds. The page we're working on is called Spiritual Armor, and it's from the Renew Your Mind class, because to renew your mind, you have to know how to fight the battle in your mind. So we're going to go through the class just a little so you can see where we are, and then from this lesson, we're going to create a Bible journal page based on the Bible journal page for this lesson includes the 6 pieces of armor and a little bit about each one and an image of each one. Every lesson in the Renew Your Mind in all my classes have Bible journal ideas in them. And this, if you'll scroll to the very bottom of the page, and this one happens to have a class freebie, you'll see the lesson, the ideas. And this one we're going to use is called Use 6 Journal Spots to Visually Represent the Armor of God. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So we'll get started with that. And you can download the class freebie from the top of the page. You don't have to worry about the background right now. We just grabbed any journal page because we're going to switch it out later. But what we mainly want to do now is I want to start with a frame, and I've got this is a blog freebie that you can get at BibleJournalClasses.com and click on freebies, and you'll see all these are free. And I'm going to open this one with 9 squares in it and 9 journal spots, and instead of taking 6 cards and lining them all up and getting them straight, we'll just start here with these 9. And I'll show you how to edit it. First, we're just going to crop it. And this is basic 101 stuff for most people, but some of you are new to cropping, and that's all you have to do is grab the crop and pull it down. Grab the crop tool or go to the bottom and pull it up. And that makes 3 of the frames completely disappear. And while I have you here, and since this is already rasterized, you have to rasterize something before you can edit it. I'm going to go ahead and use this rectangular marquee tool to remove this little shadow off the bottom, because I want the shadow to come from a different direction. So I'm going to remove this. Most of my things do not come with shadows. Clusters usually do come with shadows, but these don't. So some of them do and some of them don't. You just decide which ones you want. But if you have one like this and you don't like it, you can remove it. So I wanted you to know that you could do that. Just grab the rectangular marquee tool on the top of your toolbar, select the parts that you want to remove, and click Command X. Okay, so now we've got that done. And I want to save this because anytime you're dealing with a whole bunch of layers, you always want to have it saved. So I'm going to save it real quick as 6 armor journal cards or something. But you could save it as a Photoshop document, which is PSD or TIFF. Either one of those will allow you to open it back up and edit it and work with it in the layers. If you saved it as a PNG or a JPEG, you won't have any layers, so you'll have to have it the way it is forever. So this way works out a lot better. Now all we need to do is go get some text from the lesson to put in these little squares. And I'm going to show you how I have some ways to play with the text that help you make it fit into those little squares. It just so happens when I did this, I did Ahab's. Ahab is the lack of armor. I gave David as an example of how he used the armor, but Ahab didn't use the armor. And it happens that when I described each of the pieces of armor, that was a good place to find a succinct thing that would fit into this little square, because we just want one sentence describing the armor. Now, of course, that's too big. It's 18 points, and we want to go down to 12 points to fit in this square, and it fits perfect. So I'm using a note font. So now we're going to get the breastplate of righteousness, protects our heart and empowers us to live boldly in the authority of Christ. And if you want to write something different or start with my text and then edit it to fit yours, that's the way a lot of people learn how to write, is to start with someone else's text. I wanted to show you here that I pulled down the character box. I'm going to take out some of this first because I want to show you I don't like that hyphen. I don't like hyphens in little tiny boxes like this. Hyphens, to me, it's too hard to read. So I open the paragraph, click on the paragraph, and remove the little hyphen. Now, that doesn't do it for the rest of the document. It just does it for the text box that you're in right now. The breastplate protects our hearts and empowers us to live boldly in the authority of Christ. The gospel of the shoes of peace. They equip us to stand firm, and we're going to talk about stand firm in a minute, and advance our faith, spreading the peace of Christ in a world torn by conflict. Don't forget to save your work. Again, you can just start with my words and then add your own words to it to make it uniquely your own. And if you want to use my words, that's fine. If you want to use somebody else's words, somebody says it better on another site, use that. But the main thing is it's something that's going to help you remember something about the elements. That you'll use it to refresh yourself if you go and find this, go through it a year later or even a couple of years later. Or, like me, I plan on using this as my legacy. I'm going to give my treasure journals to my grandchildren, and they'll have it. This happened to fit really well in there. The shield of faith protects us from doubt and fear, allowing us to trust God's faithfulness. The helmet of salvation safeguards our thoughts and transforms our outlook, renews our mind, allowing us to face each day. And I'm going to have to take that down. Instead of going down to 8, I don't like to go that small. I want to show you that you can do something different. Let's just take it to 10. And actually, once I take out a couple of words, it'll still fit. But I wanted to show you that you can go over here to this box and make your words a little bit, the letters go closer together. And I'm going to hit it to 90%. And look how good that looks. It's fine. You can't even tell that I've messed with the font, and it fits perfect. So you can always go, you can go to 80, even 75%. It still looks pretty good. The sword of the Spirit equips us to combat false, I can't remember what I just copied. Let's see. Combat false teaching and resist temptation, advancing God's kingdom with every swing. I love that. Okay. So don't forget you need to save your work. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do since I'm done. I'm going to grab all 6 of the texts, and I'm going to group them by clicking Command G, and I'm going to label it text. Because when you have a whole lot of layers, sometimes I have 50, 60 layers. I want it all to be as neat as possible, so I group things. And I'm going to lock that because I don't want to move it later when I'm going to add some more things. I still want to add the chipboard word art, and I want to add the little images. You'll notice that when I named my word art so that you can find it easily by searching it, you don't have to look. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key and grab each one of the, I want the belt, the shield, the breastplate, the helmet. Grab each one of these and the sword. and we'll grab all 6 of them, bring them over. Now I'm going to change and edit this word art, and that's one of the things I wanted to show you that you can do. So I'm going to get rid of the backgrounds for a minute just so you can see what we're doing here. And what we're going to do is, because we're putting them on these little squares, these long phrases are going to be too long. So I'm going to adjust the size a little bit. Our word art is, don't worry, our text is still there. It's just hidden. The little eyeball is gone. When the little eyeball is gone, it means the layer's still there, but the image is not shown. And what we need to do is edit each one of these individually. The Sword of the Spirit, I'm going to take the marquee tool and cut it, but first I have to rasterize it, because you can't edit it until it's rasterized. Rasterized in Photoshop, simplified in Photoshop Elements. So take the rectangular marquee tool, and we're just going to cut of the Spirit off of here. Okay. But now I have to go and rasterize every single one of those word arts. So I'm going to show you a little trick that's going to save you a lot of time. And I know somebody out there is going, oh, cool, because this is a neat trick. So now you're going to grab the other 5 words and go ahead and rasterize all 5 at a time. You can do that. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now we don't have to go rasterize each one of them. So I'm going to take off of faith, of the shield of faith. Click Command X, and it deletes it. Whoops, I'm not on the right layer. Hold on. Let me grab the right layer. It already says Shield of Faith in the text, so we don't have to have Shield of Faith on top. And you wouldn't be able to read it. It would be way too tiny. So this is why we're editing the word art. So we'll just take off of righteousness. And I'll put drop shadows on all this in a few minutes. And then you'll see, I'll show you how to edit that also. Rectangular marquee tool, Command X, gone. It says Helmet of Salvation in the text, so we didn't need to repeat it anyway. Let's take off the of peace for the shoes of peace. Truth. The belt of truth equips us to stand firm against deception. Oops, there was a little piece I missed there too. Let me grab my eraser and erase it. Okay, now let's straighten these up. If you hold Command and click each one of these, you can go up to the top and you have the option to center and to make the space in between the same. So you're aligning it. It's an align bar that up at the top. Now let's do the same thing. Shield, helmet, and sword. Hold your shift key, select all 3, center, and space. Okay? Now, these are a good size, but I want to show you, what if that one was too small and it looked funny? Let me show you how you can fix that. It's a real easy fix when you're doing different size words or different size text boxes or different size journal cards. So you go up here to the transform, you click Command T, and look, either by pixels, inches, percentage, it defaults, I think, to 100%, but you can change it. This is 111 pixels or 30.37 inches. So we know that that's how high the word belt is. We want the word breastplate to be the exact same. So we click Command T and go, and it's only 20.27, and we want it to be 0.37. And then you can see it's the same size. So it looks a lot better that way than it would be all different sizes. Let's line that back up. Okay. So now we've got that. Now we want to add some images. Don't forget to save your work. I already named it, so all I have to click is save. And I'm going to go group all the word art, the chipboard word art, because I don't like a messy panel. And we'll name it word art. Now let's go get the little images of the armor. Wrong armor. Okay, we want the belt, we want the breastplate. You can hold the shift key and select each one and drag them all over at one time. Oop, I didn't get the sword. I'll come back and get the sword. And you can make everything disappear from, hide the eyeball. So you're only dealing with these. Select all of them so you can size them all at one time. Okay. Now let's put the eyeballs back and add the images to the proper place. See what you can do with the eyeballs? Make everything show everything and hide everything. Show everything and hide everything. Okay, start with the sword. Put your cursor outside and twirl it around. Resize it to where it looks good. I'm going to my styles and I'm going to add a drop shadow. And that drop shadow is way too big. So I'm going to add a smaller one, an even smaller one. So there's my drop shadow. And I'm going to show you how in a minute to change that and make your own drop shadows so you have a panel of shadows in your style so you don't have to stop and add a drop shadow each time, or you can add the same one to each one so it looks consistent. Resize and fit the element. The helmet, resize it. The breastplate, resize. Now I'm going to show you how to put a shadow on all of them at the same time. Back to layers. There's my styles. So first I'm going to go back to the layers. And select all 6 of the armor, pieces of armor. Go to Style and select Drop Shadow. This page is really done. So what I'd like to do now is go ahead and save it as the TIFF is what I like to save mine as, but now we're going to save it as a PNG. And because at a PNG, it's flattened, but it's transparent. I don't know why I have a U in there. Now we can close that and I can bring that PNG into my journal page. And again, this page actually has a little bit too much pink for me for the armor, but I wanted to go ahead and show you how to change the background. So we'll bring that in, resize it, place it, and I'm going to put a drop shadow on the whole thing. Let me go get the frame, and I'm going to show you how to do a blendable frame next. Let me show you real quick. I'm not going to use this frame for this page, but I just want to show you how to do blendables and what they're all about. They really look pretty on this type of a background. They don't work well with some other backgrounds, but you play with them. So what you do is go and get the blendable box and look at your blending options. And then you're going to use this, the top, the current layer, the top. It'll say gray in the box. And then you're going to play with this slider. And you'll see that the white immediately disappears. And then you'll see some of the edges disappear around the background. You can get some really cool looks with this. These blendable options are how I made the whole backgrounds to begin with different flowers and different paints and things. And then you can go up here to this blending box and play with it and look at all the different looks you get. It's really cool. When you're doing watercolor looks or acrylic looks, you can do some neat things with it. So this is what I call de-stressing. When I play with this, I get hyper-focused and really get into it. And again, that's how I make my backgrounds. And all my mixed media pages I make by playing with all these paints and different things. So that's what a blendable is. I have a lot of blendables on my site under the mixed media, or you can go to the search box and just type in blendables. So let's go back and find the frame that I wanted to use, the same frame, and I had chose one that was had more green in it. And also I want to edit this frame to show you how you can do that if you decide to. You can use it as it is. Or now if you blended this with the blending options, the green would disappear on the bottom. I'm going to grab this color and make a frame, a box in the background. And remember to go up and down here's a frame, to go up and down in the layers palette. To make this go under, you just hit Command left bracket. To go up, you Command right bracket. Watch the layers palette, and I'll hit Command left, Command right, Command left, Command right. And you can see you go up and down that way. It's easier to me to hit the keyboard shortcuts than it is drag, but everybody's different. You might want to do it a different way. Now, there's a lot of flowers in this frame that are going to overlap some of the words, so it just depends on what you're going to use the frame for. So I'm going to use my eraser tool. First, I rasterize the frame, and then I'm just going to edit a little bit of the flowers. And because this is a blendable, and because it's watercolor and there's lots of splashes and paints, it's not going to make a big difference. You're not going to notice it. So that's another thing about blendables. It's kind of neat. So here's we've got the background now. And I'm going to group this. I'm going to put the rectangle and the frame together by hitting Command G, and then I'm going to name it frame. And then when I put the verse in, I'll also group the verse so that I can move it around. Now let's go get the verse. There's a lot of verses that would go with this lesson because it's about armor. The first 3 lessons in the Renew Your Mind class are about our minds, but are about spiritual warfare. The first lesson is put on the whole armor of God to withstand the devil, because that was the first verse, because our mind is the battlefield. The second one we did was on authority, and the third one, which this is a great verse, God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love. But we're going to use, and then the second verse was on authority, and this verse is about the devil and about, goes into the dragon. So we want this verse, in all circumstances, take up the shield, so you can extinguish the flaming darts of the evil one, and us taking up the shield. So we talk about our armor in this class. Let's go ahead and change this. I like that color. I want to make sure I'm matching the orange. I'll get an orange here, but I always make it a little darker when it's the words so we can make sure they stand out. Then I'm going to drag that down into the frame so I've grouped it. So this, I can move this around all day long, and all 3 pieces move with it. And then the next thing we need to get, and it's a class freebie that you should have downloaded from inside the class, and that's the dragon. Because we talked quite a bit about the dragon, but we don't want to give him the main focus. So let's put him back here, Command left bracket, it goes down a level. There, let's put him even more up in the corner. There you go. And then there was something that I put in here that I wanted to share with you. Stand firm is a really huge in my life and in my husband's life. And I'll share with you real quick. My daughter, I'm going to go get a journal card and put the stand firm word in it with the bullet list that I had inside the class. So let me grab the journal card. My daughter died. She was 36 years old about 10 years ago. And about a year ago, I was looking through a letter, that several things that she had sent me, and one of them was a letter. And she wrote on the very last line, she wrote, "Stand firm, Mom." Right underneath her signature. It was like a PS, "Stand firm, Mom." So that's already real important to me. But then my husband, we've only been married a year, and when we were dating, his best friend died. He knew him for like 40 years, and they played racquetball for over 20 years. Right before his friend died, Mike had sent him a text and said, "What are we going to do with this mess, the problems with the United States right now?" And his friend wrote back and said, "Stand." And so stand firm and stand mean a lot to both of us. Let me read this to you. Here's the little bullet list. This is what stand firm means. Continuous action, posture of resistance. It's all based, because here it says that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. And then we have continuous action, posture of resistance, stability and strength, readiness, victorious position, contrasting to falling, defensive and offensive. While primarily defensive, standing is also means offensive, being ready to defend yourself or being ready to attack. Maintaining a persistent posture of resistance. It signifies firmly holding one's ground. Stability, strength, portraying a warrior who's not easily toppled or pushed back by the enemy's attacks. Standing indicates a state of readiness. So we're going to put this into our journal page, the bullet list. And here's the word "stand firm" as a title. You know, when we started this lesson, we go through the spiritual armor. I give you the definition of what each one of them symbolizes in the Bible. And then we go through Ahab's lack of armor. He was the opposite. He didn't have a belt of truth. He was a liar. He was influenced by Jezebel. And then he didn't have righteousness. He didn't have faith. But then we go into David's armor. And how, David, what was so cool about him is he wouldn't even wear Saul's armor, and he went out with the Lord God. And that's what the verse in Samuel is. David said, "I can't go in these because I'm not used to them." And what he said instead was, "The Lord who rescued me from the lion, the Lord who rescued me from the bear, and from the hand will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." And then we go into the ultimate dragon slayer, which is Jesus Christ. And then, while I'm here at the prayer, let me just ask all of you to please, when you go through the prayer section in every lesson, pray for yourself the way the prayer is, but also pray for me, pray for everyone in the class, because, when you start studying the armor of God, and trying to renew your mind, you're doing exactly what Satan doesn't want you to do. And he's going to start bothering you. So we need to be standing in what we're learning. Stand firm against the wiles of the devil. Here, let's look at this style. I want you to see something here. I don't like that drop shadow, so I'm going to edit it and save it. I'm going to edit it by clicking on the style box or click on the word drop shadow, and that brings up the little style box. And you only have to change two things, the distance and the size. So I'm going to bring the distance down from a 7 to a 3 or 4, and I'm going to bring the size down from a 12 to an 8 or 9. And I like that. So because I like it, and it's a small drop shadow for chipboard, I'm going to go ahead and change it, save it as a new style, and we'll call that small drop shadow. Okay, and now when you go to your styles box, go to the very bottom and you'll see your new saved small drop shadow. Let's try putting it on this. Okay, I don't like it on that, so I'm going to remove the drop shadow from that, because those words are just, you want to be able to read them. That's the most important part. It's not how pretty they look, is it readable? Okay. Now we're going to go find the lady in armor. And resize her. And see how she overlaps the frame a little? That's always a good thing to do. Overlapping is a really good thing. And this is it. We're done with this page. So I think I've showed you several things here. How to save a style, how to edit word art. I'm going to save. Here's how I do my naming convention. Everything that I name, that I make that's Bible journaling, I save it as BJD, Bible Journaling. And then this is a traveler's notebook. This is a treasure journal page, so I put TJP. And then I'm going to write the name of the class, which is Renew. And I usually shorten it to something like that. I'm not going to put 30 days to renewing your mind. And then L3 for lesson 3. And it makes it so much easier for me to go renew L3, because I know I want the page from lesson 3. And then also, if I save it correctly, I can find something. Say I was on a social media board and somebody was upset because they were aging or gaining weight or something, and I could go and find my You Were Fearfully and Wonderfully Made page that I made 3 years ago, but I remember making it, but I forgot what I named it. But I know enough about my naming convention that I could find it and then go share it. Now I want to show you how to change the backgrounds. So you just open up your journal pages and drag and drop them, and you can drag and drop all 12 pages if you want, and then audition them by looking at each one and how it looks. So let's grab that one, bring it down. Let's grab another one. Let's grab several. And you can just switch and go through them. And let me see. You know what? I really like this one. I'm going to use this one. Now I wanted to add some more word art. And there's several words that you could add to this page. So we'll go to the chipboard word art. There's actually 3 word arts. There's word art 1, word art 2, and there's phrases. Let's use the word battle. And I'm going to put that on top. While I'm here, let me show you something that you can do real quick about, I want to get rid of all the extra journal pages, because if you saved it like that, it would be huge. And so I turned them all off. So when the eyeball's off, you can go up here to the top and delete all those at one time by going to Layers, Delete, Hidden Layers. It's another little trick. Boom, all gone. Because sometimes I will have literally 50 to 100 layers, and when I'm done and I know I've got a lot of every other one turned on or off, I know I want to get rid of all the hidden ones, because it really junks up your computer to have files with big layers that you're not using. One other thing I want to show you that I do a lot is after I'm completely done with the page, I add a layer of black, a big black rectangle or dark gray rectangle square. And the reason I do this is it gives it this cohesiveness when you add the blend modes. Now, it looks a little shocking like that, but what you do is you bring down the opacity way down, like under 20%, but it just gives it just this little pop, and it makes everything look like it was created together. I just really like this look. So it's just another little tip. I hope this was helpful. You've learned how to edit word art. You've learned how to do things with blendables, how to save a style, the importance of naming conventions, how to change backgrounds. And I want to teach you more, so just ask in the Facebook group. I do not do a basic 101 class because there's already one done by Linda Sadcast that I highly recommend. I'll leave the link below. And she can teach you how to do all the basics. I'll teach you how to do the day-to-day stuff that we do in the class. So just ask me what you want to learn next, and I'll be glad to make a video for you. Bye-bye for now.